Hey friends, I actually started this video a while ago, which is why you're gonna notice that I actually have hair in this video, but good thing that I did kind of put this video on pause just due to technical and moving around reasons. But we're gonna talk about the Viewsonic Elite monitor in this video, but thankfully I was able to pick up my RTX 3080 in the meantime to actually better test the monitor, so it was kind of worth the wait. But let's go to past Brett, who has hair, and he's gonna talk to you now. My friends, we got a special thing for today's video. This is one of Viewsonic's first attempts at actual gaming monitors. Not that Viewsonic hasn't made high-end monitors before, but this is one of the first. This is their Elite lineup, the XG270QC. This was actually announced back in May, and now looks like they're finally coming out to retail. I think I saw the first reviews popping out about a week ago, and it's a pretty decent set of specs in this monitor. It's 27-inch, 1440p, 165 hertz. It is a BA panel, so you don't have the IPS ghosting issues. It covers 50% of the DCI-P3 color space, has a 3000:1 contrast ratio, actually is rated for HDR 400, but can hit 550 nits of continuous brightness, which is actually pretty good. It's not good enough to hit HDR 600, which would be the next step up, but HDR 400 with actually being a little bit higher than that is pretty decent. This is a curved gaming monitor, which I'll show you that in a second. It has a 1500R curve, which basically means that its radius would be 1.5 meters. Looks like with the accessories, we've got USB cable, DisplayPort 1.4, power cable, external power brick. It's not actually one of the ones that goes on the inside. That looks about right. That seems to be everything from this part. Now lift that up, and there is the monitor itself. Let's actually get you off the table. Okay, box, fall apart, why don't you? Yeah, we're good. There we go, 1500R curve. Right there. I can't remember where I was with the specs. This is FreeSync Premium Pro, so it has variable refresh rate, low frame rate compensation. It is flicker free, and then also because it's Premium Pro, that means it can do HDR. That's the Pro designation. Premium doesn't have HDR, essentially. So that's a lot of static. Come on, peel this one. Also, additionally, this monitor does have RGB down here, which you would sync to your PC using the USB cable, and then you're able to control it with various softwares. Viewsonic is claiming that this is borderless by just obviously borderless on three sides by not having super thick borders on these top and sides. The bottom obviously has a big chin, but that's how you get all of the RGB at the bottom right there. So the spec sheet on this thing is pretty impressive. 165 hertz at 1440p is nothing to sneeze at. I actually think this is a pretty respectable monitor as far as on paper. The stand itself has height adjustment. It can swivel and it can tilt, but it can't pivot on the stand itself. You can't rotate it at all. This actually looks pretty decent for a gaming monitor. The matte black on the back is great, but then they added to it with the glossy plastic, which I think subtracts from the design a little bit, but I can take a mixture of both. I love the metal stand here. This actually looks pretty sturdy and beautiful. This is actually a pretty hefty power brick. It can deliver 120 watts, which the monitor doesn't actually need, so I'm curious why it's so beefy. But if we take a look at the ports, we have 3 USB out, the 1 USB in, headphone jack, DisplayPort 1.4, 2 HDMI 2.0s, and then a micro USB down there, which I would presume is for charging stuff. And now you can obviously see the RGB lighting showing up now that I accidentally pressed the power button on this guy. So it has a little joystick down here for navigating the menu. The power button's over here, and then it has an exit/quick access. The monitor looks pretty good just from the black levels that I just saw. All right, let's test out the input lag on the Leo Bodner lag tester after I can make sure that it's in the correct setting. So it's at 165 hertz now. Oh, we can change the RGB down here. Rear, there's RGB at the, oh, there is RGB at the back. What the heck? I wasn't expecting that. Check that out. It's kind of hidden by the glossy plastic, but that's pretty neat. So it has a few different modes: rainbow, breathing, stack, and then others. The bass is about the same, always on. You can keep it always on even when you turn the monitor off. That's neat. Okay, well, we're in the lag tester. We can go ahead and check it now, see what the input lag is on this. 8 milliseconds. That is pretty good. That is definitely faster than a lot of the monitors I've tested before. So that's quite good. 16 at the bottom. You typically want to take the center measurement as the average. 0.9 or 1 millisecond right up here at the top. That's pretty responsive as far as input lag. Hardly anything going on once it's properly set. So definitely enjoy that. Oh, there's more features that I didn't notice. It looks like there's a headphone hanger here at the side that you would just pull out like that. You can see that going on. They also say that there is a phone base stand right down there, which I guess makes sense, but it's really just you're putting your phone right there. It's cut out nicely so that you can have it there while you're gaming, but I don't know how many people would actually benefit from that, but it's a feature that exists. Okay, well now it has to be time to game on this thing. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Okay, so we have the Viewsonic monitor set up on my RTX 3080 test bench, and we've got Blur Busters running right here at the UFO test. This is just the VSync preview, and everything looks totally fine here. But if we go over to the ghosting test, if you look right up here, especially on the top, I don't know how much this is gonna come across on the camera, but there is some pretty decent ghosting. It gets not as bad towards the bottom, lighter color, but especially on the dark background, there is indeed a bit of ghosting that's happening on that one specifically, which isn't great, but it's also not the worst that I've seen. However, it's something to just keep in mind as you pick up the panel. Okay, now let's just go ahead and load into a game of Valorant, turning everything up to high, especially because I'm running an RTX 3080. It does look like we're set to 165 hertz, so that should work, but this should give me the best indication of how I would feel with this panel in more of a competitive gaming environment. We're currently running pretty easily on this, and you can see I'm actually using this little headphone hanger. Also, one of the things to mention is the fact that I don't remember if I said this, but apparently this has speakers. It actually is not awful. It's enough that if you don't have headphones, you can kind of use it, which is kind of just a decent inclusion on a monitor of this site. The word I meant to say was sort. I do want to mention before we get into the game, however, is that this phone holder setup right here does not particularly work if you're running your cables through the back here, as you can see. As I put my phone there, my iPhone 11 Pro Max, it's too tall and the cable kind of gets in the way, and then otherwise it has to be kind of offset to the side of the cable. But then if you put your monitor down, right, like what's the point of that phone holder right there? It's a neat inclusion. Why? So immediately the response on this panel is just really enjoyable. Buttery smooth, 165 hertz. We're running at that 165, no problem with this 3080. I mean, I suck at this game, so that's not gonna fix any of that whatsoever. But it does give me at least a slight ability to kind of discern what the heck's happened. So while there was some ghosting that was happening on the Blur Busters test, I'm not noticing too much in-game. It doesn't seem to be that prolific.
One enemy remaining.
Finally, a kill.
Last player standing.
Yay, I won that one.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Ah, frick. Okay, so I think we can go ahead and wrap this video up. Viewsonic actually has come out with something pretty decent. Obviously, one of the main selling points is the fact that it is RGB on the underneath as well as on the back, and then has a few other features that are kind of novel for what I've seen in this category of monitors. Obviously, it has the headphone hanger and that little phone stand, which is odd, but it does feel like Viewsonic is trying to stand out in the crowd because there is a little bit of competition that's now heating up in the 1440p 165 hertz race, which if we consider this at its price point of around $450, it does stand to actually be a pretty good competitor in that lineup, considering all of the extra little bonuses it gives you. Comparing it to its competitors, it does have a higher brightness than the rest. Most of them are just rated at HDR 400 because they can hit 400, whereas this one is just below 600. It's in that 550 region, which is quite good. However, you do have to ask the question, is that $450 worth it when it comes to getting a high refresh rate, high resolution display, 1440p 165 Hertz on a VA panel with HDR 400 for $450, or you could go with potentially what we talked about in a previous video, which I called this the budget king. This is the Pixio PX278. This is 1440p, only 144 Hertz, and a TN panel, not a VA panel. So it actually is $150 less. So you're actually spending 50% more to get a different panel type, slightly higher resolution, and then a bit more in way of stand quality, the curved display, the HDR add-ons, which gives you then FreeSync Premium Pro, as well as all of the bells and whistles that comes with this Viewsonic Elite. From a raw consumption standpoint, it doesn't make as much sense to go with this, simply because if you're looking at the TN panel dead on, it's going to be as good as anything else that's out there. But if you're trying to build a setup that actually looks really good, that has a few characteristics that you otherwise wouldn't expect in a gaming setup, Viewsonic's come out with something that's pretty good. Adding the RGB on the monitor helps it to fit in that gamer vibe, which not everybody likes, but it does exist when people are creating their battle stations. So I would say definitely give this one a consideration. We'll leave a link in the video description where you can potentially check out this Viewsonic monitor. Let me know what you think of the Viewsonic Elite monitor, 1440p, 165 Hertz. I'm keen to hear from you down below in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button, get subscribed to UFD Tech to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.